Washington Democratic Governor Jay Inslee now joins me. Let's start with the pandemic. Thank you, Governor, very much for being with us. And let's start with the president, because he has not only sidelined Dr. Fauci, the White House has launched a smear campaign against the nation's top infectious disease scientist in the middle of a pandemic. Your reaction to that?
Well, we have always hoped that we could have a partner to exercise some leadership in the White House, and we have not had this. Unfortunately, the president started denying this problem, then he disengaged, and unfortunately, he's continued to use deceptive messaging. That's been very problematic, but that is not stopping us from our efforts in Washington State and other states. We are masking up big time in Washington State. We were the first state to have a requirement that businesses only serve customers that are masked up. And I'm pleased to tell you that this is really working in Washington State. We've had some communities with 95% masking usage already. And we think that this is a sign that Washingtonians are still committed to this, no matter what the president says. And we got to keep our eye on the ball on this, because this is our number one mission right now in my state, should be nationally.
And you are on these calls with the vice president, presumably. We're told that he and the task force are actively engaged, even though we don't see it. Are you getting a different message from the vice president than the one the president is projecting?
Well, I spoke to the vice president, along with other governors, yesterday and urged him to continue efforts to convince the president and himself to give this message to Americans that masks work. He responded by saying he's wearing a mask now and will continue to do so. I think that's helpful. I said I thought it was a great, tiny little baby step for the president to wear a mask in a picture. But look, we can't have this partisan divide on masks. This virus doesn't know Republicans or Democrats, and we know masks works both for Republicans and Democrats. And we could use the president's leadership on this to get over this really silly debate where there is no debate at all. And I do believe it's the most important thing for the health of Americans right now, because it is our number one tool as we make a transition, hopefully to continue a pace upward rather than backward. So what I can report to you is we are doing it in Washington.
Well, I want to ask you about Joe Biden and his new energy proposals, which he's going to be making at 1:30 today. But I also first quickly want to ask you about the threat from Washington to cut off money for schools that have virtual rather than in classroom learning in the fall. How is Washington State responding to that?
This is like a lot of noise coming out of the White House. It's an empty threat. We don't believe it's going to happen. If it did happen, we'd see him in court. And our excellent Attorney General Bob Ferguson has beaten the Trump administration, I think, 24 times in a row. So we believe it's just kind of an empty threat, and it's like a lot of the noise that we try to ignore. Look, we're going to make decisions in Washington based on science and the health of our children. Those decisions will be made in Washington State, not on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. I'm confident of that. We've got some very creative solutions that our school educators and parents are working on. We're going to be based on science and health in Washington State.
And I do want to ask you, speaking of science and health, you as a presidential candidate made climate change and clean energy the centerpiece of your campaign. It was something, frankly, great to hear. Now Joe Biden today is outlining his $2 trillion plan, his clean energy proposals. You have said that it's more than a step. This is not just tokenism. Tell me what's right about this and why you're validating it for him.
Well, I got to tell you, I am thrilled about what Joseph Biden is going to, the vision he will bring to Americans today. It's based on jobs. Joe is for jobs. And fundamentally, this is a clean energy jobs program. And I think he has hit it out of the park on this plan because it's based on a very realistic assessment and a very vigorous, robust, and very comprehensive approach about how Americans could get back to work in good union jobs. And he gets it big time. And I'm thrilled that he has embraced some of the things that I have been advocating for some period of time, because they're based on, number one, standards of performance. Number two, it's central to his economic development plan. Number three, it embraces equity throughout. And number four, it's based on good union jobs for people to be able to have good economic opportunities through union jobs. So it hit on all cylinders. And I think it goes throughout the economy. And I just could not be more pleased with what he is proposing, because this is not some sort of modest token program. It is a go to the moon project to get people to work. And by gum, we need that big time right now because of the collapse of our economy, because of the COVID pandemic. So this would have been a good plan a year ago. It's a great plan now because it answers the needs of the moment. This is a man in his moment, and I'm really tickled what he's proposing.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.